Hi there, and welcome to lesson 29. In the previous lesson, we created the pub scene. We had to crop or extend the scene. Now, there's this ugly block on the side that we need to cover up, and I thought it would be wise to create a tutorial where we use a clip of a scene and then extend it, and how we can utilize what's there and recreate it or extend the scene. So I'm going to disable the pub layer, and I'm going to use the crop tool to extend the scene to the bottom as well. So right, I don't want to work on the top, I just want to extend it to the bottom for this lesson. We can have another, you can extend it in your own time, or create a whole new scene where you have lots more to do. But sometimes you don't have the foresight to see what's going to happen in the future, and this is that lesson where we extend the scene for more later on. Right, so there's our cart layer. I'm going to leave that as is. I'm going to delete all of the other layers. Another thing you can do when you create a new file, always rename it to something new. When you want to do drastic changes to your scene, recreate a new scene so that you can go back if you mess up this one. Right, so now that we've done that, we have more space to work with. And let's see, so what I want to do is I want to create a new layer on top of everything, on top of the background. So I'm going to keep it just above the background layer that we've created for the scene. I've got this one that covers the sides. We can disable that one. And I've got my isometric grid in here as well. I'm just going to make it full opaque so that I can extend it, that as well. So I'm just duplicating that and putting it, no. Hold Shift and to make sure that it stays in line. Right, so just want to check. Let's put it there. Then Control E to merge that, duplicate that again, and put it over to the side. Merge that as well. So now we've got a grid all over the place. And I'm just going to lower the opacity, and on my buildings drawing, I'm going to extend this scene. So we've already created the stones, and it's no use. You can either use the clone tool to do that, but I'm going to draw it. But I'm gonna cheat a bit. So I've already drawn it, so I might as well just use it. So I'm going to trace over this. Okay, just make sure that your brush is the same size as you've used it for the previous drawing. So I'm going to trace over this, just to make life quicker, easier, and simple. Right, so while we have the door here, let's create another door as well. I just want to disable another layer here. Let's put that layer off. Buildings drawing, and let's recreate the door. So far so good. So let's move this over using the shortcut T on your keyboard. Let's move this over to here. Make sure that it lines up. Right, and then why not use the windows as well? So let's use that window. I'm going to draw. but this is on the same layer, so we want to use the lasso tool to move that. So let's make sure that we make a neat selection of that, then move that over, make sure that it is in line with the other windows. Then Control C, Control V to make a duplicate and move that over. And let's do another one for the lower level as well. So we can put a window in here as well. We're going to extend the roof as well. And maybe we redo that as well. So let's merge all of this together so that it's a single layer. Let's jump in here and I'm going to redraw or trace a bit of the roof so that we can extend it to the left as well. So it's a quick and dirty way to extend your scene with elements that's already there, and just working clever instead of working hard. Right, so instead of drawing all of the tiles or the covering of the roof in, I'm going to rather draw that in because otherwise this won't line up with that. So let's copy or make a selection of that. And then using the T tool on the keyboard, move this over. And maybe we have it between those two windows. Somewhere around there. Right, so you can already see things are not lining up here. I'm gonna have to erase this part of the roof. So delete that. And then draw this. Right. So this is still a single layer. Right, now we can extend the roof. So let's be clever. Let's see that goes to there. That goes to there. Let's make a selection of the window again. Copy, to paste, and then move it into place like so. And let's merge that with our drawing layer. So far so good. So we just need to extend this part as well. And then we want to replicate the stones as well. Now you can draw your own rocks, so you don't have to use the rocks that you've already drawn. Draw a few new rocks, make some of them slightly rounder. Stones, I mean, and pebbles. Right, so now that we've got that, let's make copies of that. Lasso tool, make a copy. Control C, Control V, Shift Control A to deselect and move it over. And duplicate that, or let's mirror that so it will still work because you followed the grid for this. Move it over. Flip it over and okay, we see a rock that's been cut off there, but let's merge all of this together for other places where things are cut off. Oh, this looks good. Right, so I think it's time to disable the grid layer and below, select the layer below our drawing layer, create a new fill layer. Okay, cancel that for the moment. So let's select the background layer and then make a color selection of the ground layer. Right, and then select the layer just below our drawing layer, and now we can do the fill layer because now it will have the same color that we want for all of the floor. Okay, then press Ctrl I to invert that, and using your marquee selection tool, select everything that doesn't have a color. If you hold Shift on your keyboard, it will add it to the selection. Now press Ctrl I on the keyboard to invert the selection, and voila, you've got your background layer filled with the same color. Right, it's looking good. I think we can start coloring the rest as well. So following the same principle, I'm gonna make sure you select your building layer. I drop the color for the building so that that color is selected. Then back to the buildings layer and just below the buildings layer, and make a selection of the building for that layer and off to the next one. So you'll see me doing this over and over again, the same principle, so that I can color the new part of the drawing to fill this in. Now, if you did something like I did here, and you want to remove bits of this new fill layer, press the D on the keyboard to set your colors to black and white. Now, if you press X, it will swap it from white to black. To remove, we want to make sure that to erase, we want to make sure that we've got black selected, and to paint back, we want to make sure that we've got white selected. So we can clean this up. So you'll see I'm working on one layer now, so maybe, all right, let's keep that windows, I'm just going to use that same layer now. So using the lasso tools, selecting the stones, I'm going to select that stone and maybe the second stone because my stones have different colors. And then using the eyedropper tools, select the color for that stone, and then using the fill tool, just fill it. Right, and then let's do that one as well. We can do the same for the rest of the stones here as well. But to make life easier, I'm going to select my drawing layer, make sure that all of my stones are closed. So it's a single, it's got a solid line. So I just want to use the magic wand to select outside, then invert the selection so that I can do this one time and very quickly. Right, let's see what it looks like now. Right, that looks good. We'll get to that. Right, so what I want to do now is I want to invert the selection. So I press Shift Control I to invert the selection, and you'll see that it's now selected the stones and not the stone minus the stones and the outside. right? But the selection is just a pixel too wide. So we go to select and shrink selection by 1 pixel, and it will shrink it back into place. Let's create a new layer and let's call those stones and pebbles. Right, so you can see that my stones and pebbles only have 2 colors. So select, control, press, when you've got the brush selected and you press control, it will reveal the eyedropper tool. So, and then press X on the keyboard to swap your colors, and then control to select that. So now you can press X on the keyboard just to paint separate colors. But we still need to deal with this. So using your lasso tool, and press Shift on the keyboard to make a selection like that. Right, and we are in business. So let's make the brush bigger and fill that in. Okay, I think this needs to be below our drawing, so just lower that. Press Ctrl H on the keyboard to hide the selection tool, or the selection, the marching ants, and paint your rocks. I think that's sufficient. I still need to do the windows and the doors. So windows, doors, let's do that. I just want to select that color, then the lasso tool, and you know the story by now. So you can create paint layers or fill layers. It's entirely up to you. I jump between the two, so often I will create paint layers and other times I will create fill layers. To fill a big area, I would suggest going with fill layers like we've done here and here, and the whole floor area and walls. So that's a quick way to do it. And for smaller assets, I usually just go with a paint layer and fill in all of those as I go. Right, now I'm going to use the paint layer and paint on top of that, just to make things quicker. Well, I think that's basically it. I did a bit of shading in here as well, so I'm going to create a new layer and call that shading, and set my brush opacity to a lower setting, say 20 maybe, and I want to color select that, press X on the keyboard, color select that, and start adding the shading in there. I'm painting over the lines. Remember that this is a separate layer, so I can easily erase easily erase the overpaint that I've done. Okay, I think it looks well integrated. So we have extended our scene. I just want to fix up that quickly. But you'll see why we needed to extend our scene, because I want to add something very, very interesting in the next tutorial. So stay tuned to see what happens in the next tutorial. Right, I think that covers it. In the next tutorial, we will create something different in our scene, and you'll see why we needed to extend the scene. But you will always need to extend your scene in some cases. sometimes you think you've got it all planned out, and then life and your scenes give you a curveball, and you need to adapt to that so that you can easily extend scenes, and this is a way to extend it. Right, so let's quickly remove all of the unwanted stuff. If you learned something, please give this video a like. If you want to see more of this, remember to ring the bell, and if you subscribed, you will immensely help this channel. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.